It was a cold, gray morning when a construction crew entered an abandoned house in a quiet corner of town. The house had been left untouched for decades, its windows shattered by time and weather, and its walls cloaked in layers of dust and decay. As the crew began their work, they uncovered piles of debris, old furniture, newspapers, and broken trinkets. But buried deep beneath the rubble, they found something that stopped them in their tracks. An old, tattered envelope. Its edges were frayed, its surface stained, yet it seemed to hold a weight far beyond its fragile appearance. Inside was a letter dated 1944, written by a soldier who never made it home. But this wasn't just any letter. Its message wasn't meant for his family or comrades. It was meant for us. The man who wrote it, Private James Carter, was a name forgotten by history. He wasn't a war hero immortalized in textbooks or a figure celebrated in memorials. He was just a young soldier, 24 years old, who found himself alone in a bombed-out trench on the eve of what he knew would be his final battle. With only the faint glow of a lantern and the distant echoes of gunfire for company, James poured his heart into a single piece of paper, a testament to the life he'd lived and the lessons he'd learned. What was so important that he spent his last moments writing to someone he'd never meet? Today, we'll uncover the hauntingly beautiful words he left behind. Words that carry a message capable of shaking anyone who reads them, capable of changing how we see our own lives. The letter begins with a simple yet profound statement. I don't know who you are or when you'll find this, but if you're reading it, that means I didn't make it. And that's okay because this isn't about me. It's about you. James didn't write about the battles he fought or the horrors he witnessed. He didn't recount the agony of losing his comrades or the fear that crept into his bones with every passing day. Instead, he spoke directly to the future. He wanted whoever found his letter to understand something deeper, something more profound than any history book could teach. Midway through the letter, James reveals his greatest fear. I don't fear dying. What I fear is never having lived the life I should have. I spent so much time worrying about the opinions of others, chasing things that didn't matter. Now that I'm here at the end, I see it so clearly. Don't make the same mistake. These words cut deep. How often do we waste our days consumed by the trivial? We stress over appearances, chase after fleeting successes, and ignore the quiet moments that truly matter. James's words are a stark reminder that life isn't about perfection. It's about meaning. As the letter continues, it takes an even more poignant turn. James writes, I thought this war would make me brave, but it only showed me how fragile we all are. The real battles aren't fought here. They're fought in the choices you make every day. How you treat people, how you face fear, how you decide what really matters. It's not the words of a man trying to sound heroic or poetic. It's the raw, unfiltered truth of someone who's seen the edge of life and death and wants desperately to leave something behind. A legacy not of accolades, but of wisdom. James's letter doesn't just speak to our hearts. It challenges us. It asks us to look at our own lives and confront the decisions we've been avoiding. Are we living with purpose, or are we simply existing? Are we brave enough to be kind when it's hardest, to chase dreams that scare us, to value time over money, people over possessions? And then, James closes with a plea that lingers long after you've read it. If you take anything from this letter, let it be this: don't let my life, or the lives of so many others, be for nothing. Live your life with courage. Be kind when it's hardest to be, and make every single day count, because you'll never get it back. He signed it simply, James. No rank, no title. Just a young man asking for one thing: to not be forgotten. As the crew stood in the abandoned house, holding this fragile piece of history, they realized they weren't just reading a letter. They were holding a piece of someone's soul, a gift from the past to the future, and with it came a responsibility. To honor James's message by living it. What will you do with the time you have? What decisions have you been putting off? What relationships have you neglected? What dreams have you been too afraid to chase? James's story reminds us that courage isn't about facing bullets or bombs. It's about facing ourselves. It's about choosing to live fully, even when it's easier to settle for less. It's about finding the strength to be kind, even when the world isn't. This letter wasn't just a goodbye. It was a challenge, a beacon of hope. A reminder that every day is a chance to make a difference, for ourselves and for the people around us. So here's my challenge to you. Take one step today, no matter how small, toward living the life James hoped for us all. Call someone you've lost touch with. Take a risk on something you've been afraid to try. Tell someone you love them. And above all, don't wait. Because if James could find the courage to write these words in his darkest hour, we can find the courage to live by them. Share his story. Let his words reach farther than he ever could have imagined. And let his message remind us all to live boldly, live kindly, and make every single day count.